what were the trouble when we met all the way back? I don't even know when, but what were you struggling with?
I was struggling with addiction, and I also did therapy, like I did DBT therapy after being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and concurrent disorder, which is basically addiction and a mental illness. So I was drinking alcohol and I was smoking weed. I had quit smoking at that point, but I had been smoking on and off up until I was pregnant. But I was still smoking weed because I felt like I couldn't stop even during pregnancy. And they were like, well, it's going to be like, it'll affect the baby, too much stress. So don't, just try and cut back. So even still, I feel guilty for doing that pregnant, but I've come so far since then, like I wasn't drinking while I was pregnant, but as soon as I had my daughter, my mom was actually enabling me and buying my alcohol. And it wasn't until I had gone to my doctor and I'm like, I can't function. I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I need help. And when I talked to a psychologist and she had diagnosed me with BPD and drinking like alcohol and alcoholic basically, then actually CAS had gotten involved. So I had CAS involved as well because
It's like childhood protection services or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically because I was not sober, right? So I was like, they were worried about my daughter and what was going to happen with her if I'm not a sober mom and dealing with a mental illness. And my husband was also smoking weed at the time, so he was told he had to stop because there had to be a sober parent in the house. And here I was thinking, oh my God, I grew up in a house with two parents as an alcoholic, and they're telling me that one of us has to be sober. Like, what? What is wrong with this picture? Like, my parents both still drink. Like that's the crazy thing is like CAS is involved with me and my daughter and my husband, and it was just weed, and I was the only one drinking, but they're like, no, like there has to be someone sober in the household. Like you can't
Yeah.
both be smoking weed and you drinking. Like, no,
And like, hey
that
guys,
doesn't work.
where were you when I was a kid and I had
Yeah,
two drunk parents in
exactly.
the house, right?
Yes. And my mom was still like, well, still making excuses for me, right? For CAS. And like, like you can't just stop drinking like that. And so I was actually on gabapentin. They got me on gabapentin because there's the risk of seizures if you just stop drinking.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that was also like, okay, you have to get on this to get off the alcohol at least. And if you're smoking weed, just do it less. And your husband has to stop, right? Like there has to be someone sober. Well,
Yeah.
he did his best too to stop, but he was still vaping behind the scenes, like
And
because
we
again,
will get to that where that led because that's another like bomb in your
yeah.
life that then caused even more pain.